Hi, this is Stephanie. Here I'm going to be giving a presentation on rhetoric, the basics of it anyway. What is it? A lot of you may think you don't know what rhetoric is or you don't feel super comfortable with it, but it's most likely that you do know what it is. So I'm going to go from here. I'm going to start with the beginning where it originated from, which is ancient Greece. It began with a group of people they called sophists. And these people believed, in ancient Greece in general, they believed that the ability to persuade and the ability to speak well and eloquently was power. It equated to power. Sophists, they would go around and they would charge people for them to teach lay people how to speak well and intelligently. A lot of people didn't like sophists because they felt like they were con artists. The reason being is because they felt like knowledge should be shared, and the fact that they were charging people to teach them this, that's why they kind of got this bad reputation. And also, they felt like, this was giving anyone the ability to have power. Whereas before it was attending school or having a tutor, and only people of higher class were able to do that at the time. So a lot of people didn't really like the sophists. They felt like they were kind of sneaky, conniving, teaching people to trick people with their fancy words and knowledge. But it's important to remember that rhetoric originated just as speech, not writing. And then Aristotle came along and he said that, that rhetoric is observing in any given situation what you have available to use to persuade your audience. He wrote a lot on rhetoric. I'm just going to go over the basics of his philosophy on rhetoric today. And that's ethos, pathos, and logos, which are the three main means of persuasion. So pathos is you appeal to the audience's emotions. So convincing the audience of whatever purpose you have by playing on the audience's emotions. So what do you want your audience to feel? How are you going to do that? Now, this is the part of rhetoric that you probably know that you've been taught in high school, middle school, and that's like literary analysis stuff. So figures of speech, antithesis, assonance, those kind of things that you look for in writing that we've analyzed. They used it for speech. So rhetoric, it's a lot of what you already know. Just now we apply it to writing mostly, not speech making, but we can still apply it to speech making like the ancient Greeks did. Second mean of persuasion from Aristotle was ethos, which is the appeal to the speaker or writer's character or reputation. So that's looking at whether or not, that's pointing out whether or not the writer or the speaker, has good intentions, morals, ethics, or whether or not the speaker is credible. If they're knowledgeable, can they speak on the subject they're talking about? Can they write about what they're writing about? How much do they really know? So this is another part of convincing your audience is demonstrating that you are these things, you have these things, and it makes you credible as a speaker. The third and final main point of Aristotle's means of persuasions, which make up rhetoric, is logos, the appeal to logic, having sound arguments, using facts and statistics to back you up, appealing to what makes sense, what's logical, using that to convince your audience of whatever you want to convince them of. So you do, I promise, know what rhetoric is. It's a lot of what you've learned about literary analysis. And please read the assigned readings for this week and complete the discussion questions. Thank you.